This is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we are getting into the July 2022 fashion roast and review. Yes, there is a lot to discuss, a whole lot. Everybody, it's calm down. It's a lot to take in. We have Beyoncé releasing Renaissance Act 1. If you're a channel member, you can see the full sort of image reaction. So if you want to look at all of the different images from Beyoncé's Renaissance Act 1 and the breakdown, become a channel member. And also, if you want to become a channel member, like, listen, just go down below. You know what I mean? It's not that hard, not that difficult. We also are going to be talking about haute couture, whether it was Schiaparelli having a host of celebrities, not getting into Balenciaga yet, and different brands like Chanel or Dior. We have Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian burning up the planet in outfits like those. So without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we have Adele. Now, Adele is wearing Schiaparelli. Now, this is a custom look. It is a halter style in velvet, which has an off-the-shoulder experience, a full sort of sleeve, a gold belt, and then it sort of falls out of this suit jacket style into a sheer skirt that is beaded. Listen, I love Adele. I think she's great. I think she's fantastic. I don't think this is the best look ever whatsoever. I think the halter style is cool. I think the idea of sort of doing traditional tailoring and turning it into a gown is also really cool, but it just seems very discombobulated. I understand black and gold Schiaparelli colors, love that, wonderful, but no. The velvet, I think, does not lean well into the beaded skirt. I think they look very strange together. They don't make a whole lot of sense, and it's trying to go from very hard to soft way too quickly. There's no sort of ombre or gradient effect to sort of ease us into those two things. The gold belt, I get it. There's other ways to do gold and sort of incorporate those house codes besides a belt. One of the less exciting Schiaparelli moments that we've seen thus far. Next up, we have Andrew Garfield. He's wearing Valentino. I believe he was at the haute couture show in Rome. It's a blue blazer with little gold buttons in a double-breasted style. Kind of looks like my school uniform from high school, but we didn't have double-breasted jackets, which kind of actually would have been cool, but like, I'm digressing. A little light blue blouse with pussy bow sort of strings flowing out, and then a nice denim and little brown loafer with the Valentino V. I think it's okay. It could be worse. I think that it sort of mixes the idea of masculine and feminine. Blazer tailoring styles, and then a pussy bow blouse, very sort of feminine, 1930s, Coco Chanel, Yves Saint Laurent from the 70s kind of vibes. The jeans, again, I think it has a very sort of 70s feeling. If you look at Valentino, you know, the show is called The Beginning. The beginning of Valentino was the late 60s, early 70s. So in that context, the denim works, pussy bow blouse works, loafer, shoe also works. All of those things did definitely have provenance during those periods. So honestly, I don't hate this. I do think it's very simple, but I think that the elements sort of put together are nice enough and have enough Valentino house code history to sort of allow oneself the ability to say, this is fine. I will deal with this. Next up, we have Anne Hathaway. I'm gonna be very sad about this one, but I hate this. I hate this so much. I think this is vile. Listen, it is the Valentino PP Pink. That is a color that is signature to Pier Paolo, who is Pier Paolo Piccioli of Valentino. And in reality, I absolutely love the idea of Pier Paolo sort of reinventing the idea of a Valentino color that is very much so Valentino. Valentino Rosso is a color that Valentino Garavani made Valentino. So Pier Paolo, I think, is doing a really, really good job of sort of taking that branding of Pier Paolo Piccioli, and making it pink and sort of doing that. And I think it's cool. I think it makes sense. I really like it. I really appreciate it. Now we have this sort of sequin turtleneck dress that's a little mini. The thing about it is, whatever the ruffle on the underbust, it's just hideous. It's not attractive. It's ugly. It's not great. I understand, again, Valentino house code, flounces and ruffles. It's a thing. It makes sense. I see where we're coming from. I just don't see why we put it there. I love that Anne is giving it to the girls in the heels. She's doing it. She said, listen, I'm gonna wear the shit out of them. And she did, absolutely, 100%. The bag matching, all great, all lovely. It's just that ruffle is awkward. It looks awkward under the armpit. It looks awkward under the bust. It just is an awkward placement for the ruffle. There's nothing that we could do about it. No matter kind of where you put it to, it was gonna be awkward. If you moved it down a little bit, made it at the waist, if you made it at the end of the skirt, okay. If you made it at, you know, the little turtleneck, okay. But I think wherever you were gonna put that ruffle, it was gonna be a questionable experience. If we were gonna pick anywhere, it should not have been here. Not been here. That's a no-no. Please don't touch me there. That is her no-no square. Don't put a fucking ruffle there. That's it. End of story. Thank you so much. Wow, I'm really on my mean shit today. I'm back. Let's get into this Renaissance experience. We're talking about Beyonce. I'm gonna talk about 2 Beyonce looks here. Now, if you're a channel member, we're gonna break down all the looks from Renaissance that we've seen thus far. So, again, become a channel member. Like, it's honestly, it's pretty worth that, I have to say. First up, let's talk about this Alaïa look where Beyonce is levitating. As you guys know, Beyonce has released Renaissance Act 1, which is the first part of a 3-part album music experience. Again, I don't really know much about music. I just got my energy, I listened, I lived, I laughed, I loved. Beyonce told me to quit my job. I want to, but I can't. We have this Alaïa look. Now this is a custom look. It's based on the fall 2022 collection by Peter Moulier. Now, Peter did red on the runway, but Beyonce is an icon and a legend and a star, and she gets whatever she wants. And she's also a client. Here we can see that it is a guipure lace dress that has a little face mask. This collection was also based on Pablo Picasso and ceramics that he did. I'm sure that that sort of influence was going on there. But we can see Beyonce's wearing this little like face mask that covers the nose, and then it sort of flows down, has a full sleeve experience, is bodycon, very Beyonce, shows off the body beautifully. And then when we hit the knee, we can see that there is this beautiful sort of fur tuft experience flowing out into a mermaid skirt. Honestly, I think the green version is really, really beautiful. The red I thought was nice, but I think this green really is like pungent and it has like a real sort of feeling to it. You know what I mean? Like it's rich, it's flavorful, it has some there. I love the fact that the dress actually sort of fits and really accentuates her curves and her swerve. Her breasts look fantastic, and I don't really talk about people's bodies like that, but like this is a dress that accentuates those very, very well. And I think honestly that you have this whole sort of bodycon experience, and then the texture of that sort of mermaid skirt really does a very, very good job. It sort of flows out, creates a very, very different sort of silhouette going on from the knees down. I think it's a lovely dress. I think it's really, really great. Very proud. Shout out to her whole styling team because I think they did a fantastic job. And this is only part 1, so I'm excited to see what comes up. And the last Beyonce look that we're going to be talking about is the Schiaparelli Haute Couture collection from spring 2022. Now, it's essentially made up of a spiral bullet bra, and then there's a leather sort of bodysuit bustier experience going on. The bullet bra is very sharp, very pointy, a reference to Jean-Paul Gaultier. Again, Daniel Roseberry has said, I'm referencing other designers, it's something that he's okay with. That him is more so an ode to those designers that inspired him when he was young. So that's kind of why you have these very pointy bra shapes. In reality, the bullet bra came about in the 1940s, the 1950s, and was something that like normal women wore, I believe, at least in the United States. It must have been, you know, in other places like France when Jean-Paul Gaultier sort of made a teddy bear that he owned into a bullet bra teddy bear experience. Now we have these sort of golden spirals that go and sort of create Barbarella-esque laser bra shooters that also sort of tie into the black and gold aesthetic and house code of Schiaparelli. And then the look paired with some polka dot tights, black shoes, and big sort of gold earrings. In reality, it's an intriguing look. It's funny. It looks good. It was a great Schiaparelli Haute Couture look. Looks good on Beyonce. Not opposed. Next up, we have Billie Eilish, and Billie is wearing Peter Doe, who is one of the most exciting American designers currently working. Now, Peter is a master of the minimal but utilitarian. A lot of the clothing is usually in white, black, gray, maybe a beige camel on occasion. It's essentially American casual sort of commercial wear that usually has multifunctional aspects, and I would say that Peter is the second coming of Bonnie Cashin, an American great. In my opinion, what's going on here is a blazer jacket paired with a long skirt that is slit a little bit in the front. Billie is wearing a little sort of light, strappy camisole sort of style and big, large, chunky Peter Doe boots. I love the look. I think it's great. I think it's different than what Billie usually does. Peter is a designer that is very sort of rarely all about like sexy, skin tight, and all of that. A lot of the pieces are usually oversized, they're big, they're sort of baggy, and it fits in with Billie's sort of very early style, but as we've seen over the past year and a half, 2 years, Billie is sort of transitioning into wearing things that are a little bit less Violet Beauregard and more sort of smart, intentional, and intelligent ways of expanding and wearing larger silhouettes without the pieces just being basic baggy t-shirts and shorts. Honestly, wearing Peter is a really, really smart look. This is from fall 2022, a collection that really for Peter was about going back to things that he likes, that he wears, and just sort of making, again, nice clothes. That's the thing. There are some designers that do crazy, over the top, insane. And then there are other designers that just make nice clothes that you want to buy and you want to wear for 20 years. I appreciate that Billie's sort of moving and grooving in different directions. I would say that whoever is styling her as of recent really knows what's going on, is evidently like working with her to expand what's going on in that sense of intelligently shifting away from just wearing very sort of simple oversized outfits, but rather smartly sort of presenting a different image of Billie. And also I like seeing Billie in a heel, like a big chunky boot. It makes sense. I think it's cool. I think it's fun. I love this Billie Eilish experience. Next up we have Brad Pitt. He wore a very quote unquote scandalous look. He's wearing a fucking skirt. Like, let's be completely honest. You know, there was a big hullabaloo about this look and oh my God, it's so dramatic and oh my God, Brad's wearing a skirt and Okay, like has nobody seen the images of Brad Pitt from the 90s when he's wearing dresses? This is not crazy, honest. It's really not crazy. So this look is by the designer Hans Nicholas Mott. Now it's essentially 3 linen pieces. There's a brown relaxed fit jacket, a relaxed fit brown skirt, and a very linen-y light pink top. Honestly, with the boots, it's very cool. It reminds me very 90s, deconstructed, grungy. It's wrinkled, who really cares sort of vibes. I think it's great. I think it's a cool look. I think Brad obviously is doing very smart sort of moments. This got a lot of traction. It got a lot of press. People were really intrigued by it. Some people were upset by it. It's a skirt. Calm down, snowflake. But I think it looks great. I think it's smart. I think it's well done. I think the drape of the skirt is really, really nice. I think paired with the boot and also that ability to sort of show leg, it gives a different sort of feeling to the skirt. It makes it much less sort of feminine and much more kilt-esque idea of it's a piece of fabric, John. Don't worry, nobody's destroying your idea of masculinity, just shifting. And also Scotland, India, China, Japan, they've all existed for centuries. And guess what? Those men are still men. That's my whole thoughts on it. I think the look is really, really great. I think Brad knows what he's doing. It's a great way to garner press. And again, it doesn't look bad. Sometimes men do the thing where they're like, I'm gonna wear a dress, I'm gonna wear a skirt, it's gonna be crazy. And then it looks terrible. Like it doesn't fit, it's poorly constructed. The look just is not meant to be made for a men's body. The look is just not literally made, and I mean made in the sense of the patterns were cut to actually accentuate a man's body. Rather, it's just cut for a woman's body, and then you put it on a man, and it's like they're different body shapes. So, of course, they're going to be different. Here, evidently, Hans Nicholas Mott was doing and was cutting clothes for a man's body. And it looks good. Looks really nice. Next up, we got Dua Pete, aka Dua Lipa. She's out here. She's living her best life. She is wearing Bottega Veneta. Now, this is from the fall 2022 collection. It's essentially, in my opinion, a sequined style lingerie dress that has a sheer overlay dress over top, and then there's a little sort of lace applique that goes in. There's also elements of little sort of feathers that jut out as well, and matching gloves, and the gloves look really, really nice. Then it's paired with a knee-high little silver platform boot and a little bobbly Jody bag. I believe this is the Jody bag. So it's a bobbled version. Mathieu Blasi, smart, very good designer, knows what he's doing, has been the studio director of Bottega for quite a few seasons under Daniel Lee, and then took over and put out his own version. I think it works. I think it looks nice. I like when Dua wears off the runway. Listen, is this a question of is she skinny or is it fashion? I'm gonna say it's fashion, shockingly, because honestly, the silver playing off the gloves and the dress, it's kind of weird. It's super weird, but I like it. It's fun and strange and awkward and awesome. And even though there's that like feather moment at the waist, it's not oppressive to me. So, thoughts. That's it. Next up, we have Emma Chamberlain. She's wearing Louis Vuitton. It's not my favorite Emma look ever. I know it's very simple, A-line dress, very 1960s. It has a sort of simple little crystal neckline, little crystal pockets. It's very youthquake 1960s, living their lives in London, maybe a little bit Courrèges inspired, a little bit Parisian experience. And then we have a little platformy heel and some sort of petite malle bag with a bunch of different stickers on it. Now the petite malle bag obviously is a trunk bag. It means a small trunk. Louis Vuitton was doing this 100 trunk exhibition show in LA. Now, in reality, if you're gonna wear a show about Louis Vuitton trunk, why would you not wear a small version of the trunk? And then, in reality, the stickers, yes. Do I think they're attractive? No, I don't. That's fine by me. Will I say that they have provenance? Absolutely. Because the Louis Vuitton trunks throughout history have had little stickers slapped on them from where people would go. You know what I mean? So like, you know how you get bag tags nowadays and through and then you slide it and then you rip it off the end? Well, what they would do instead of bag tags, they would just take stickers and slap them on there, what your bag looked like and where you traveled and all this sort of stuff. So that's kind of why we have this history of little stickers on bags. Do I think it looks cute? No. But do I think that it's a historical nod? Absolutely, and I like that part. Do I like how it looks? No, but again, yeah. I would like something a little bit more exciting, a little bit more intriguing from Emma, most definitely, but do I think that Nicolas Jesquier has been on this very 1960s kick? And do I think that this dress is very much so that, but just really commercial? Yeah, so that's where I stand. Next up, we have Emma Watson, and she is wearing Schiaparelli. Now, this is a haute couture look. Now, it's a black jacket with this beautiful, large lapels that sort of come down and create a very 1980s shape with the sharp shoulder and the nipped-in little waist. And it's really, really gorgeous. I love the little white shirt tied underneath. The ripped jeans and the Doc Martens, great, fantastic. The bag, I have no idea what's going on, but I like it. Emma's back.
Not me, not you, Hermione.
And I'm into it. She looks cool, she looks exciting. I also like the fact that she's actually styling her own stuff. Normally people will just take a whole look fresh off the runway and be like, I'm wearing it, I don't give a they already did the job for me. No. She's wearing her Docs. And again, the black with the gold plays into the history and the house code because honestly, Emma Watson's a smart woman. She knows what she's doing. She probably did a little Google search and she was like, there's a history to this? Don't worry, I got it. And then the ripped jeans, I think are fun. I think they're intriguing. I think they add a different element. They add an actual like realistic aspect to the look of what somebody that actually probably buys Schiaparelli haute couture might actually wear on the street. You know what I mean? This is that. So I like to see that because this has much more client vibes than it does celebrity just getting paid to show up to the show vibes. So shout out Emma. She knows what's going on. She is an icon. She is a star. She is a legend. I'm very pumped for this fashion rebirth. Next up, we have Gigi Hadid, and she is wearing Mr. Self-Portrait. Now, this is a green square Swarovski crystal dress. Again, the question of, is it fashion or is she just thin and gorgeous? Mr. Self-Portrait, it's an American brand, and here's my thing. Again, it's back to that American idea of sportswear fitting really, really well. Simple clothes, not really too convoluted or crazy. And the thing is, like, it fits Gigi really, really well. It's a sort of stretchy dress with a lot of crystals on it. I don't love it, but I certainly don't hate it. You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh my God, foaming at the mouth, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. The shoulders look right, beautifully cut. It fits to the body really, really well. The sort of square crystals create a little bit of a difference than your normal sort of usual circular crystal, and it sort of creates a little bit more of a structured geometric feeling to it. The little bag is very cute. The mini micro bag is back, and I believe that this is the Mr. Self-Portrait bag, which they've recently released. So it has a little bow on it. It's cute. It makes sense. There's, you know, a little shoe, a little strappy shoe. Those seem to be in, so everybody, in case you have them, pull them out. It's a cute look. Something to die for, but cute, nice, enjoyable. Fits well. Next up, we have Hunter Schafer, and she is wearing Schiaparelli. Now, this is a look from the what? Spring 2022 ready-to-wear collection, so it's not haute couture, and if it's not spring 2022 ready-to-wear, it's fall 2022. It's a dress that is essentially a corset, so we can see the boning that runs throughout, essentially a reference to lingerie, the structure of lingerie, and then it's pretty much a opaque skirt, not super duper mini, not super duper long. It's a nice sort of usual skirt. There's matching gloves. But the thing about the dress that's really intriguing is the way that the neckline sort of creates horns. Here's my thing, Schiaparelli, reference referencing to Spanish dress and history and culture, was a thing that happened quite a bit from Elsa. So I personally think that it's referencing bullhorns and sort of matador fighters and things like that, because there was an haute couture collection that was based on that. And then I think the little ready-to-wear moments, they just sort of take themselves in a more commercial sense. So I think that's what's going on here. The shoes are also Schiaparelli, and they have the long sort of gold toenails, very long, very intriguing, very funny. The black shoes, nice enough, totally fine. The thing that's so funny to me is Hunter Schafer also is a Prada ambassador, so the fact that she wore her little Prada triangle bag makes me laugh. Like full Schiaparelli look, but Prada. Some people might be like, oh my god, that's terrible. Here's my shtick. Elsa Schiaparelli, 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, right? She did all these cool, crazy, kooky things. Then comes Yves Saint Laurent. He's like, ooh, I like a little bit of Coco Chanel. Ooh, I like a little bit of Elsa Schiaparelli. I like a little bit of Mr. Dior. He takes a bunch of different things and he sort of reworks them into different moments. Some of his most famous collections, one could attribute to Elsa Schiaparelli's work, you know what I mean? Like collaborating with artists like Claude Lelon, Pierre Mondrian. Who did it first? Elsa Schiaparelli. Salvador Dali. Referencing surrealists like Man Ray. Jean Cocteau. Who did it first? Elsa Schiaparelli. You have that moment, right? So that's the bridge. But at the end of that little structure, and I mean, there's some fallout after that, but Miuccia Prada, young woman, 1960s, 1970s, comes from this rich Italian family, and she's like, listen, I love Yves Saint Laurent. He's an icon. He's a legend. I idolize this man. And essentially starts to rework some of his work, thinking that it's his work, but in reality it's really Elsa Schiaparelli's work. So she's really sort of pulling these things all back together. And honestly, the Prada referencing Schiaparelli makes this little bag all come full circle, and I love it. Iconic. Hunter Schafer, whether or not she knew what she was doing there, did something amazing. Next up, we have Kim Kardashian. Now, she was on the cover of a magazine. Which one? I don't know. This little Schiaparelli look that we are talking about is a strapless corset. Now, if we zoom in, we can see a little bit of a floral jacquard sort of woven in to this little silky experience. And there is a bunch of different sort of seams that run throughout and sort of cut up the body. It's actually rather intriguing. What comes out of the strap is a sort of circular ring. Now, in my opinion, because this is a look from the spring 2022 haute couture collection by Schiaparelli and Daniel Roseberry, pretty positive it's referencing the gods, space, the universe. Now there's sort of little squigglies that are jumping out of it. They're nice, they're fun, they're surreal, I would say. You know, surrealism, the idea of, you know, art that just sort of comes from the body and organic sort of shapes and figures and things move and swerve and groove and all that sort of stuff. Now this skirt, it's a different sort of shade of black. It's darker, and it's also a lot longer than the look was on the runway. So my thing about that is I don't love the skirt length here. I just don't think I don't think it's great. I feel like we're gonna put a pant with it, a little something different. Maybe even just like cropped this image in particular, just to focus on the orbit and the ring and the seams and the jacquard, but the skirt part is not great. But I know that that's not from the runway, so I know it's not a Schiaparelli situation. I know that it's whoever styled this. But I love the fact that Kim is actually wearing something rather nice. Next up, we have Kylie Jenner. Now she's wearing Alexander Wang. This particular dress, I say, why? A cocktail dress. It has a bunch of ruffles that go on the straps, come around the breast area, and then sort of trim the bottom of this little cutout section. The actual dress is textured, so I presume that it's some sort of, I don't want to say flimsy fabric, but definitely a fabric that is lighter, that can be heat manipulated like this. And the thing is, like, listen, does it look like coral? Sure. The bra section, it does. But then when we look at the skirt, we can see that it's some sort of like zigzag motif that's going on. And then the dress is sort of trimmed at the bottom in another one of these little flounces. She's wearing a bag by probably Chanel. My thing is, like, you know, Kylie's been in the news for like killing the environment and all that, but like, why in this? Like, if you're gonna destroy the planet with our private jets and products that are sustainable, at least like dress better. If you're gonna wear what I presume is probably like a polyester, make sure that it's cute polyester. That would be helpful, because that thing is gross. I'm all about the maximalist, crazy over-the-top fashions. Still ugly. This thing is vile. Should have never seen the light of day, let alone a manufacturing floor or Kylie Jenner's Instagram. But with all the money in the world and the private jets and the stylists and the access to whatever you want, whenever you want, I say, not everybody deserves what they got. And also, leave the TikTok trends to the kids on TikTok. They're much better at it. Next up, we have Lizzo. Now, she was on the cover of Elle magazine, and she is wearing Balenciaga. Now, listen, this is a Balenciaga look that was seen on the runway for fall 2022, but at the same time, Kim Kardashian wore it when she was showing up to the Balenciaga collection. Now, at first I was like, holy shit, that's so cool. It's a Balenciaga caution tape garment, but it's not. These are like actual pieces of Balenciaga just taped on a spandex catsuit. On Kim, I was kind of like, it's cool, because I do genuinely think it's cool, utilizing different materials as quote-unquote fashion. I get it. I think Demna is very heavily criticized for doing things like that, but he also comes from the world of Margiela. That is where he sort of learned how to make clothing and where he spent a lot of time as an early designer. So my thing is, if you sort of were raised in a fashion sense from a designer brand that is known for upcycling materials and is known for sort of taking odd, obscure materials and making them sort of quote-unquote fashion, doing something like this, utilizing tape as a sort of style and all that sort of stuff, I think that it holds weight, because again, it would be like getting mad at, let's say, Pierre Cardin, who would go on to sort of produce very structured sort of garments later in his career. It would like being mad at him for doing like structured garments and then citing the fact that he worked at Dior and being like, well, he's copying Dior. Well, he worked at Dior. So the ideas at Dior, when he was a little designer and seamster, we could say that some of them were his. And so then when they came on the Dior runway, they could have been his ideas. We just don't know, because there was like 200 haute couture looks. It's almost like being mad at Mathieu Blasi at Bottega Veneta for making updates to certain bags that were put out under Daniel Lee. Mathieu Blasi was design director. So he approved looks, he designed looks, etc., etc. They just went on under Daniel Lee's name. So it'd be like getting mad at him for work that he did while he was at the company, and then he put out stuff and then people are like, oh, you're copying. It doesn't make sense. Listen, is it Balenciaga-esque? Not really, but is it very sort of Margiela-y, which is where Demna comes from? Yes, absolutely. I also think that honestly the look is cool. I think it's fun on Lizzo. It's like a different sort of style of bodycon too, and I like the fact that we're seeing it not just done only for somebody like Kim Kardashian with this sort of quote-unquote like perfect body of whatever sort of time period we're in. Anybody can look good in this sort of caution tape style. It looks cool, it looks interesting, it looks intriguing, it's memorable. I think Lizzo looks great. I'm really happy about it. It's also just generally one of the first times a cover actually like speaks to me to some degree. I'm like, oh, that's intriguing. I'm like, wait, wow, I'd like to look at that more. Next up, we have Rita Ora. Very quickly, I just have to say, Rita Ora, why are you here? And she was at Schiaparelli, the haute couture collection. She's wearing this little bralette, and I just have to say, are they okay? Are they good? I'm just checking on them because they look like they need help. Maybe it's just the photo, maybe it's just the angle, maybe it's just she's walking, I don't know. But somebody check on them, see if there's a pulse. Thank you, Rita, for your time. It's lovely seeing you. Next up, we have Ryan Gosling. He is wearing Gucci. Now, this was for The Gray Man. Didn't watch it, you know what I mean? I'm not really big like spy. Da-na-na-na. Listen, I like that Ryan sort of taking chances. This light purple with the pink, with the white, I appreciate it. Do I love it? Am I like, oh my god, this is crazy kooky, over the top, amazing? No, but I like that it's different than what normally we see from menswear. He could have just worn a black suit. The world would have been like, okay. But no, I think there's a little bit of a risk being taken here, a little bit of a chance. I think it's nice. I think it's cool. I think it is fun and frisky and different. He's in his Barbie era. We have yesified Ryan Gosling. So Ryan, I'm proud. Next up, we have Selena Gomez. She is wearing Alaïa. It's a little crop top and a little flared skirt. I think it looks lovely. The houndstooth is nice. It's in a knit, which is an Alaïa sort of signature. The black and the white, also an Alaïa signature. The little black heart bag by Alaïa also sort of ties it all together. I think she looks appropriate, but cool. It's a little bit young and fun in the fact that it's a two-piece with a little bit of a crop, but at the same time, it's keeping to Alaïa house codes. And I think, again, with Peter Moulier, what the brand needs to do is sort of not only appease older clients, but also at the same time sort of bring in that newer, younger generation. And I think that Peter Moulier and Alaïa here are doing that. Selena looks really nice, really sweet, really good, really solid. Proud. Kate Young, if you're watching, good job, kid. Next up, we have Tessa Thompson. She's wearing Oscar de la Renta. Now, this is a beautiful sort of fringe drape look where it's a deconstructed sort of lame style, and we can see that the fringe sort of falls out. It's really cool. It's really sort of risky and frisky for Oscar. You know, it's a brand that usually we associate with more conservative clientele, more sort of conservative runways, and I think that this is a nice look. I think that Tessa Thompson looks wonderful. I think she always goes for a fashion moment, and so I like the fact that there's this little kooky crazy Oscar situation going on. It's not too memorable, but it's nice. It's intriguing. It looks good. It flexes a little bit of a deconstructed element, which Fernando Garcia and Laura Kim Oscar do very, very well. Happy with it. Happy with it. Then we had Yara Shahidi wearing Valentino Haute Couture. You know, she's last up, and we're saving pretty solid one for last. Now, this is from the spring 2022 Haute Couture collection, and it's this beautiful halter style in blue. It is covered in what I presume are bugle beads in this luscious blue color. One of the designers that we really go to for color, Christopher John Rogers, of course, but also Pier Paolo Piccioli at Valentino. Like, those two, just, you know, put them in conversation. Let's have something move and groove here. I love the color. I think it's gorgeous. It's deep. It's mesmerizing. It's memorable. Yara looks stunning. Now, this is probably a Cartier event, I presume, so there's some sort of necklace going on. And honestly, like, I don't love the necklace, but I don't think that it's hideous. I don't think that it takes attention away from the dress, and I don't think that the dress sort of takes attention away from the Cartier necklace either. She looks gorgeous. She really does. It's a beautiful look, very proud, looks great. So that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let's talk about a best really quickly. You know what? I'm gonna put like Lizzo and Balenciaga and Emma Watson in my best category today. Also Yara Shahidi in that Valentino look. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys on the next video, and TTYL.